If Joe Biden is not fit to prosecute, is he fit to be president? I would love to hear from you. Phone lines are open this morning, 605-336-1320. If he's not fit to prosecute, that's what was found yesterday by the special counsel, not fit to prosecute, is he then fit to be president? I would love to get your thoughts about what we saw transpire in this report out by the special counsel. Phone lines are open, 605-336-1320, 605-336-1320. The special counsel report came out, and it has ignited a lot of controversy. We talked about it earlier this morning. And I would like to, if you're just joining us, especially this morning, I would love to hear from you. 605-336-1320. Special counsel said that the president's memory is hazy and poor. And he said he rolled out a prosecution of Biden over these materials that he had in his garage. And he said that by the time you would get around to the president out of office going after him, he said it would be difficult to convince a jury that they should convict him of a serious felony that requires a mental state of willfulness. So that's what the special counsel report said in part yesterday. And the president got angry with the media, lashing out. So I'll tell you more about that, but I want to get to your phone calls first and foremost, 605-336-1320, and we'll start with Paul. Good morning, Paul. You're on Kello.
Good morning, Greg. Now, you're either one or the other. Either you're mentally competent and can be prosecuted, or you're not. And apparently this, her special investigator, said that Joe was not mentally competent to be prosecuted. So if you're not mentally fit to be prosecuted, obviously you shouldn't be president of the United States with all the responsibilities and the crises we're facing in the world. You don't have any business being in that office, but he didn't in the first place. So it's like Ron Jeremy just recently, that guy, that former porn star got tried or was going to be tried, but then he found mentally incompetent. So Joe's in the same camp as Ron Jeremy.
Well, that's a little bit harsh, but I understand your point. Where do we go from here? I'm always wondering, where do we go from here? Some are talking about using the 25th Amendment. Representative Claudia Tenney is saying that the administration under the 25th Amendment ought to remove the president.
I saw that, and that's a good start. They're always constantly questioning Trump, and then they're starting to question his mental acuity, which is ludicrous. He could talk rings around, most of those news media people, but Biden can't. I think that's a good start and get it out in the open. So people should realize, people should start paying attention to the fact that Biden is not a sharp person. They give him whatever they give him to be sharp for a little while, which it seems to be, the case. And then after that, he's just a blithering old man who is crotchety and angry, which you see. And that's not somebody who should be running the country and have their finger on, as they say, the nuclear button,
No, you're absolutely right. And we saw that anger from him yesterday. It was very, reacting. And I've got those comments also as he was talking to the media, being quite angry. And then it's like, is that a component of his age? He gets angry. We have seen that more and more. Good morning, Scott. Good to hear from you. You're on Kello.
Greg, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Scott.
So just like your last caller said, this is a very simple binary application of his mental competence. He either is mentally competent or he isn't. And he can't be mentally competent to be president, but then not mentally competent in order to stand trial for where he clearly broke the law.
Yeah.
because if you actually believe that, then I would argue you've got a very strong case of cognitive dissonance, because the two things cannot be true at the same time.
No, you're absolutely right. What do you want to see happen here, Scott?
Well, he needs to be tossed out of the office by the voters. Hopefully that's what will happen.
I think
he's a puppet. He's a puppet, and there are people that are running this country, and they just get to have him be there. So I don't know. It's a mess.
It is. I had somebody who said made the same point last hour. You know, that other people that are running the country, and who are those folks, and what are they doing, and what are they up to? It's really troubling. Scott, thanks so much for your thoughts, buddy. 605-336-1320 if you'd like to join the program. I love hearing from you. Good morning, Richard. You're on, Kello.
Hey, good morning, Greg.
Hi.
So let me get this straight. You're telling me that a DOJ attorney won't try.
This is special counsel. This special counsel.
Oh, special counsel. Okay.
That's not the same as DOJ. A special counsel is somebody from outside the government.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's good. Well, I will say the interesting thing about what came out yesterday is, for those of us that have seen it all along, it's just kind of music to our ears, right? Vindication that just somebody from outside the government, like you said, that can say, yeah, he's okay, fine. He's not fit to stand trial, but yet he's fit to be president. So I saw Vivek had an interesting take, and I wonder how accurate it'll be. That he said they're gonna hang on to him for as long as they can, midsummer, something like that, and then they are gonna oust him and parade somebody else out. It's not gonna be Harris.
I've been hearing that for some period of time, and I'm like, I'm waiting. I mean, the clock's ticking. I'm waiting.
Well, yeah, and then they could say, well, yeah, we couldn't do primaries and stuff and yada, yada, yada. But it really makes you wonder. It'll be fascinating to see how accurate he is, because, I mean, really, it's like the stars are all aligning for that just perfectly, which as a voter is very concerning, because it's like, if you guys want somebody else, then tell us who it's going to be and let us make an informed decision, and not, at the last minute, just parade somebody out there and with a D after their name to get all of those votes. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. It's a great point. Richard, good to talk to you. Thanks for your thoughts. Phone lines are open, 605-336-1320 is my number. Good morning, Jason. You're on, Kello.
Morning, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I don't think he's competent. I never thought he was. But I think with this report and with his comments last night, the House of Representatives should go straight into impeachment this morning.
Yeah.
He said enough with, that he knew he had the documents and he was letting staff handle them. I mean, most people that have one document, it's do not pass go straight to jail.
Right.
This is just ridiculous.
So he can't have it both ways. You can't be, unfit to prosecute because of your age. I mean, I just struggle. If that's the case, then how is he handling the responsibility of the most powerful man on the globe?
Right. I think, that they can. I mean, he said enough last night to impeach him. Just what he said, if you ask me. Sure.
Well, I know that there's some conversation. I mentioned this earlier. Representative Claudia Tenney is talking about. She's saying the administration ought to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove them. You could do that internally if they get enough folks from within the administration to. Now, we're talking about cabinet members who would be able to sign on to that and say that the president has lost his capacity. They would be able to take over. You'd see Kamala Harris as vice president. Not much of an improvement, but there are those who are calling for it. They're very sincere about it.
that is definitely an option, but I think the Democratic Party is too crooked and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't think they would either. I agree. I think because they're already pushing back against Robert Hur in this report. It's a great point. Kathy, good morning, my friend. You're on Kello.
Good morning, Greg. I work with elderly, and one of the signs of dementia is anger.
Yep.
And Alzheimer's, and I saw that in him last night, and in his eye, the look in his eyes, and I'm appalled by his family that they're allowing him out there like that. That it makes me feel bad for him. In the fact, I'm not a Biden fan by any means, but it makes me feel bad because the family needs to get involved and get him out of there.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That you would hope that, you and me, I would hope my family would say, hey, you can't do this anymore.
Exactly.
Greg, you got to step away
Exactly.
from this. You can't continue to do this. And you hope you would listen, but that anger at the media.
It's embarrassing for them, I would think. I mean, I wouldn't want to put my parent out there like that. It's appalling, I think.
I absolutely agree with you. It's such a great point you're making. Thank you, Kathy. Have a great weekend. Good morning, Sean. You're on Kello.
Good morning, Greg.
Hey, pal.
I was very surprised. I mean, that the special counsel even said that he had mishandled the documents. But then the fact that he came back and said, but he's not mentally competent enough to go stand on trial because he would look sympathetic to a jury. And it's like,
yes.
Well, if you know he's done this, then, and knowing that he was supposedly competent at the time that he took the documents, then he still should face the consequences of those actions. And if he's not mentally competent to stand trial, he is in no way, in my mind, competent to be president. But again,
well, and I think, as we talk about the consequence of his actions, I think many of us would, because I don't disagree with you, there should be some consequence. And the consequence ought to be that he stepped away, he stepped down, as a result of what we have seen, and that folks close to him would make him do that. But like we were just talking about, I honestly don't believe that anybody close to Joe Biden is going to have that kind of courage.
No, there's people that are too dependent on him, at least sitting in that chair and holding that position, that they won't.
Well, and then it makes you wonder, doesn't it, Sean? Because I think all the time, who is it who's really running this administration? Who's calling the shots?
Oh, I think his previous boss is probably part of that cabal. But yeah, and the other side of it, the other part of the thing is, I don't think anybody, regardless of political party, wants the current vice president to take the job. And so that's here. I think that's really one of the only things that, and people's dependency on Joe, that's keeping him in office, because Kamala Harris being
but I think
president.
honestly, I share your thoughts. I'm not a Kamala Harris fan, but at the same time, if the president is incapable of doing his duties, of fulfilling his duties, you got to rely on the vice president. This is why elections matter. It's why it's important when you go out and vote. Thanks so much, Sean. Good morning, Bruce. You're on Kello.
Well, good morning, Greg. And wasn't this exactly what they tried to do to Trump? I don't remember where the push came from. They were trying to get how many cabinet members to vote him incompetent and get him out of office.
Yes.
Isn't that exactly what happened?
They wanted to, yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure who was behind it, the Democrats, the moderate Republicans, or whatever. But, and maybe in this case, we might be happy that there's a committee behind Joe to keep his finger off that red button, just in case he gets uncalled for angry, dementia-wise, against some country that would start World War III. you might be really happy about that. I don't know if that's a Machiavellian way, but
well, where do we go from? Yeah, I'm always wondering, where do we go from here? What's the next step?
Well, I think it would be fine if Kamala was appointed president or became president and showed her complete ineptitude, and there was a regular election with her running.
I know,
but
don't you wonder why so many Americans haven't already been convinced of her ineptitude? Because I think you and I passed that milestone a long time ago.
And given that convincing of so many other Americans, it does make me nervous that they're going to pull a fast one, throw somebody out there that you can't vet. You can't go back and go through all the things that they've said and done and prove their capability of being president on a short 90-day run to the White House. That's a scary thought. They'll throw out somebody out there and then it'll be completely emotional vote.
Do you expect that Democrats are going to come up with somebody else as the nominee other than Biden?
I didn't really think so, but I'm almost 100% convinced now after this report that about his mental abilities and incompetence.
So does this also take some of the heat now off of Trump? I mean, is the Biden team going to have to be a lot more careful and watch their mouths in terms of a lot of this garbage we're seeing against Trump?
Well, you'd sure think so, but if the legacy media doesn't hold them to account, they'll probably get by with it.
Yeah, unfortunate. It's always good to talk to you. Thanks, Bruce. 605-336-1320 is my number. Good morning, Greg. You're on, Kello.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, thanks for waiting, buddy.
Hey, no problem. Hey, I agree with all the other callers, and with Biden's situation, it's not quite great. His mental capacity is obviously diminished. We've known that for quite some time. I think everybody who's paying attention sees it, but it seems almost crazy that the exact same time there's a very important interview with a foreign leader of state in Russia with one of the top, journalists that we see today.
Yep.
Being completely, covered up by this. It seems almost like they did this on purpose just to draw a giant distraction.
There are a lot of things that are big things that are going on right now, and it's just tough to keep track of them all.
Yeah, I agree. But it seemed like, you could have done this on yesterday, today, the day before. It's nothing new that we know Biden's mental state isn't quite there. So they had to kind of release something to help distract from other news that was going on. You have a tough time pulling me into that camp, Greg.
I think there's some of that stuff that goes on, but I want to tell you, I look at a hell of a lot of news every morning. I mean, I go through the headline every morning, and it's a lot of news. And the world's on fire, buddy. The world's on fire. I mean, I have never seen as many things, serious things going on. And I'm not diminishing the Tucker Carlson interview. I plan to watch it this weekend. In fact, Katie watched it last night. She was telling me about some of it this morning even. She said, "Are we going to watch this?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I want to watch it." So I will do that, but the world's on fire, man. And I can't talk about everything that's going on. And are things sometimes meant as distractions? These things we're not seeing, they're not distractions. Are you not realizing the world's really broken right now? We've got a lot of unprincipled people, a lot of hatred out there. You see that on college campuses? I mean, that hatred is what's fueling a lot of this stuff. And so times are crazy right now.